let me just recap. His blogs need to be the center of our content strategy.
Okay.
So rather than just Happy Friday, Happy National Pierogi Day, World Mental Health Day, I mean, they're all important,
Yeah.
but they're the frosting on the cupcake. His
Yeah.
cupcake itself needs to have a theme. So
Yeah.
let's just say we jump straight into October, which we're going to. Month 10 of 12, the last month of the first quarter, of the first month of the last quarter, Q4, these are all topics that we could look at. And we could sort of say, you know, if you had invested in Netflix shares on this day in 2009, when they went public, I don't know when they did, and you invested $5,000, you would now have 151,000. Whereas if you'd invested and this is George to write and for us to enamor. Whereas if you'd have put $5,000 in a bank account, you'd now be sitting at $5,700. If you'd have put $5,000 in a mutual equity fund, you'd have been at $8,000. So was the risk of going with Netflix right? Yes, of course it was. Could you have lost your money? Yes. But you know what? I'm the retirement rebel. And I'm not here to have comfy socks and warm tea while you watch the television and get old fast. So I'm not just saying you want to have a risky investment strategy, but you want to have a life worth living.
Yeah.
And if that means your wife gives you a wink and you just walk upstairs and strip off and have sex at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday, why the hell not? I don't know if he would say that. But you know,
because sometimes they go extreme to grab people's attention.
Yes. So in this retirement rebel concept, that's where we have to go with this. So this is my thinking. He has a journalist called Elle that he's referred to. And she's strategic because she has an in with a lot of the media in the United Kingdom. So big name magazines, national newspapers, and television. So and she writes for these magazines. She's written for The Guardian, Times, Cosmo, as a journalist.
Okay.
So her role is to get George in that place. So when someone thinks we need to bring a retirement expert into our show on what to do in 2020, and George becomes that de facto retirement expert.
I see. Okay.
So we need to make him super eccentric. You know, the silk bow tie, the purple cardigan, the flamboyant cashmere scarf, the walking down Savile Row, having tea at Claridge's, going to Harrods for cheese, all the things that he can do.
Yeah.
We need to make George's personal brand. This is turning you on because I'm getting very excited.
No, when I started looking at this guy, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a privilege.
Yeah. So that's what. So this isn't just Duncan's flat.
I get it. I get it.
He's cool. He's in Kona. He's about to do the Ironman. I mean, at 60-something years of old, I couldn't do it. I couldn't even do the swim, let alone the bike ride.
Yeah.
And then a run on top of it. I mean, that's what an Ironman is. It's what you swim 8 kilometers and then you get in a bike for 25 kilometers and then you run a marathon. I mean, I couldn't swim.
Yeah, that's crazy. By the way, I totally got that these individuals are completely different and that there's much more, how to say, I had to choose very carefully the, let's say, the articles, and even that I was very nervous. But I'm glad that George said, send them to me first and to Ellen, and then they can discuss. Now, one more thing that I was nervous about. Do I comment or do I like from George's, let's say, page?
Well, that's something we need to talk about with George tomorrow.
Okay.
So there's a couple of things that need to get into your psyche. British people are very formal.
Yes.
And very controlling.
Yes.
Not because they're mean. It's just because the way they're used to doing it.
Yes, it's
at the same time.
Yeah.
He's the retirement rebel. And his ideal client is not British. His ideal client lives on the East Coast of America. And they're probably a stockbroker come financial planning type person who has made really good money, but did not make a really good life. And they look at the Queen and British people as super intelligent, having all of their shit together. And it's like, how can I, with my success, become like them?
Isn't that interesting?
That's to me who his client is.
Wow.
I may even send this video to George. I love the guy. He needs to be the Richard Branson in a suit. Nice. Branson, I read an article about him the other day in Travel Tips, and he said, "Oh, it's really easy. I travel so light. I never travel carry-on because all I ever do is bring one pair of jeans. And it doesn't matter whether I'm getting knighted by the Queen or I'm on the stage for Virgin Atlantic or I'm in a business meeting. I always wear the same pair of jeans." That would be an epic. To most British people, that is just like, you wear jeans to meet the Queen? That's impossible. You have to wear a morning suit. That can't be done.
Yeah.
He did. I would never travel personally. I wouldn't. This is my Britishness. It's like, well, what if I spilled soup on my jeans and I've got nothing to wear? So I'd have to have at least 2 pairs of jeans, and some sweatpants and some pajama bottoms, because you just don't know.
Yeah.
Whereas Branson just says he travels, and you know what? With his money, and he needs a new pair of jeans, he just has someone deliver him a new pair of jeans.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
Anyway, so somewhere in between who Richard Branson is, the Virgin guy, you know what I mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the way he thinks and treats people and uses his wealth for good, he is the envy of almost everybody on the planet. I mean, he owns a private island in the Bahamas called Necker. He started with a record shop, which was Virgin Records, which I remember, signed up the Sex Pistols, became very successful at music, and then he went on to do like Virgin Rail, Virgin Air, Virgin Mobile, now Virgin Cruises, Virgin Hotels, Virgin Galactic, Virgin, I don't know. There's probably a lot more Virgins that I don't even know about.
Okay.
But it all came out of his personal brand of going against the trend. It's almost like, F you, world.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it that way because there's a better way, because I believe in people rather than money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he has made an exorbitant amount of money.
Yeah.
But he's still humble enough to appreciate people.
Yeah.
And George has got the smarts and the intelligence and the persona. I mean, nobody's going to be Rich Branson, but he can be George.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I wanted to, in some ways, I wanted to call his podcast Quintessentially George. Because quintessential is such a British word. And it sort of succinctly describes exactly who he is. But then you have this George character, because it's like, there's a monkey called George, isn't there? Just children's storybook about Curious George.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a loving stuffy. So somewhere between the British aristocracy and this loving stuffy and this retirement rebel is George Jerjian.
Yeah, yeah.
In my opinion.
I could feel that vibe from him too.
And he doesn't disagree with me. And he gets very excited by this. But at the same time, he's going to need a lot of coaching to be that person, because his default, like he just did with the podcast, and there's nothing wrong with the delivery or the content, but it's 2-dimensional.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He needs to be 4-dimensional, which is not just crazy in person, but crazy online. Mm-hmm. And I use crazy not in an erratic way, but in it's like, dang it, I love that guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's what you and I have to create out of his social strategy.
Okay.
So he is the, Marks and Spencer's, right? Have you ever heard of Marks and Spencer? It's like a British store. They are famous for their quality food. They are also famous for their underwear. Just because it's very good value, it's very comfortable, but it's not very sexy. So he needs to, for want of a better phrase, he needs to be the Victoria's Secret of the Marks and Spencer's underwear person.
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
need to be out there. It still needs to be practical, but it's got to be bold and racy and sexy, but at
Yeah.
the same time, established and consistent and quality.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe where I'm
No,
going with this in my brain.
I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it doesn't really matter what people see on the outside. It's what's on the inside that matters. And obviously, under our clothes, we were lingerie, and then we have our soul.
Yeah.
Somewhere, he's got to be the guy with the red vest underneath the white business shirt, because he's a bit of a rebel. But really what we're doing is we're getting to the very heart of who George is.
Mm-hmm.
He's an academic who is very well scholared, who is very well connected, who thinks way beyond most people's capacity to believe things are possible. And that's why he joined Bob Proctor. But he's not one of these manifesting, get rich because you believe you can.
Yeah.
People. He gets that concept.
Mm-hmm.
But he also knows that that is a concept. You have to physically do stuff. And he's a doer.
Yeah.
So for us to take him on and to deliver what he's expecting, this is how we got to be.
Yeah.
So I'm going to,
Can you send me the or he said not to be shared.
The podcast. I mean, yeah, no, you don't need to listen to it because.
Okay. Okay.
He and I have done videos.
I wonder if this podcast sort of defines him, who he is, and how he deals with things. No? Okay.
It doesn't, because it's a book review about somebody else.
Oh, okay.
And it would be okay on a Sunday afternoon radio show if it was a book review. It would be absolutely fine for an older demographic who wanted to know about the book review. It has its place.
I see.
But from an opening podcast era in the 21st century, as we go into 2020, that's not where it needs to be.
Yeah.
So I will call him today about that.
Okay.
Just to give him some good feedback, because he believes in me 100%, and he trusts me 100%.
Okay, and I know that.
And I trust you 100%.
Yeah. Good.
But we have to do something very differently with George than we even did with Gifted.
I gathered.
Okay. I mean, what we did on the Gifted launch is the level that we need to deliver for George consistently.
All right.
And I'm not saying 4-hour marathon Facebook lives.
Okay.
Over a month, that's the level of energy and ideas and creativity.
Yeah.
Because without it, this won't work. He will not get out of the mire of everybody else.
Yeah.
If he doesn't rise to be totally different.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Yes. I also have expected this to be a very royal expectation here, because just of who he is.
And we don't. I have not personally met the Queen. I have seen her in real life, but I've not curtsied or bowed or whatever before her. I have her sister. I met Princess Margaret, who was the Queen's sister, and Debbie and I had a multiple-minute conversation with her in a private garden party, and it was pretty cool.
Beautiful.
That's as close to the Queen as I've gotten.
Wow.
I've been at a dinner party with Prince Andrew, Prince Edward, and I've heard him speak. It's as close as I've gotten.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people become a different person if they know they're going to meet the Queen. They don't know how to stand. They forget their balance. They lose their words because it's the Queen. While we have a lot of respect for George, he drinks tea the same way you drink tea.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
So we want to be equal, obviously respectful.
Yeah.
But he's hiring us because of our expertise. He knows that his expertise needs our expertise. Yeah. So we want to approach it not fearfully, but respectfully. Yes. But at the same time, there's a book. I don't know if I've ever sent it to you. It's called The Naked Truth by a guy called Patrick Lencioni, and he's a consultant, and he talks about telling people the kind truth. most people tell people what they want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Very few people tell people the truth. When they do, it's not only not very kind,
Mm-hmm.
but there is a way of telling people the kind truth that they receive and accept. And even though it may not be what they want to hear,
Oh.
know you're saying it in love, in love and for the right reason.
Mm-hmm.
And by them receiving it in that respect, they become better people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we have to do with
Yeah.
George. We have to tell him the kind truth.
Yeah, I should read this book.
It's
I think
I listened to it on audio. I don't
oh,
think I have it as, it's called The Naked Truth.
Naked Truth. Okay.
His name is Patrick Lencioni. He is one of the most successful consulting companies in the United States. It's called Tabletop Consulting.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I only have it on audio. Actually, I bought it as an Apple book before Audible ever came out. I might be able to send you the audio. I don't know. It's a great listen.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what we have to do with George.
Okay.
So I need to play with his October calendar. Well, let's just do a bit of a social landscape, so we're both on the same page with exactly what he's got and hasn't got. So you can see my screen, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yesterday, I uploaded the new Apple software for my computer.
Okay.
I totally lost screen sharing.
Oh no.
Disappeared.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was like all people could see was my desktop background, and they couldn't see my screen. Anyway, Apple messed up and didn't interface with Zoom, so I fixed it, but it took a long time. Okay, so 1 sec.
Are we going through his email right now?
I'm going to go through. I'm just going to benchmark everything that we have. So,
okay.
Just so you know, he had a website built when he came to us. So he came to us as VIP Platinum rather than Titanium.
Okay.
Because when gifted people came, they didn't have a brand, they didn't have a website, they didn't have anything.
Okay.
George came to us with a website and a brand and a book already done. So that's why he didn't come in at the full meal deal.
I see. Okay.
What we found out, though, very quickly was that his website had been built by a web designer who did not want anybody else to touch it. And most of the things we were trying to change, we were unable to change.
Oh.
So we had to rebuild his website in WordPress. So we did kind of rebuild his website.
Okay.
We did it at a very, very crazy cost. In fact, I lost money on it, but that's okay. But now we have a WordPress site that we can play with.
Okay.
This site will be a work in progress. I mean, George didn't even have this picture. To me, this is George.
Yeah.
His tie with his pocket square, leaning forward like, let's have a conversation.
Yeah, awesome.
This is his giveaway, which is some chapters in his book. But to me, this is George.
Mm-hmm.
You know, jacket's off, he's still got a tie on, but this is George.
Yeah.
This is where he's been featured, which is nice and big now. It was really small. But then this is George. He's a reader. This is not his house. It's a public club or private club, but this is the kind of house he would love, with a massive library that he could just spend all day in a beautiful armchair with a fireplace, reading great literature from history, right?
Oh, so I thought it was his house. I was like, my goodness.
Oh, he's in the middle of a lawsuit with a company in China for copyright infringement from a family business from many years ago.
Okay.
And to take on the Chinese company, he went all in and sold his house and has lived in a rented house for many, many years because he had to use that money to fight this company. And he believes he has won and he's waiting for a settlement. Yeah. And he will buy another home again. But that's the kind of guy he is, so principled.
Yeah.
To the detriment of his family, in a way that they rent a house rather than own a house. But he believes that was the right course of action, and I admire him and respect him. So anyway, that's his book. This is the podcast coming soon that Paige designed.
Okay. He has Pinterest too?
No, that just comes up on my computer. We did 2 blog posts. There's another one that I'm not sure why we didn't publish it. And we will continue to alter it. But realistically, all we have is, for now, was his Facebook. We want to get into a major LinkedIn strategy as well.
Okay.
And he hasn't really been, oh, that's interesting. It goes to his personal page. Okay, we need to change that. He hasn't really been social media friendly, period.
Yeah.
Up until this point. So this is his personal page. I think, are you friends with him as well?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I should be, yeah.
Yeah. So what I've tried to say to George is this needs to be who you are in real life, George. So when he went to Venice with his wife,
Yeah.
for the anniversary,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I tagged him in this post because he and I did a call. So
Yeah.
then you can see him doing a call, and you can see me, you know, actually, this was one call, but this was another. I was doing it, nobody saw that I had to use cushions in my backpack to prop up my laptop to do this video call. That was a hotel I was in. And what I was trying to show him was, and he did this one time, he went for a flying lesson.
Yeah.
I actually got him to share what his day looked like. And he got a lot of response from this.
Oh.
I'm trying to get him to do live Facebook videos. He did this one. I said, you got to remember, you got to look at the camera lens and not the phone. But he did it. So
Okay.
all of these things are good.
Yeah.
But it's still not enough. It's still nothing close to getting people to see the real George.
Yeah. Okay.
Just not there. So that's what, you know, we, but this is, to me, this is where I was like, this is the real George.
Yeah.
He and his wife, this is his wife, Taylor.
Oh,
They went to Venice on their honeymoon. This was their 35th anniversary. They went back to Venice for like 2 or 3 days. I mean, they didn't take a lot of time off.
Yeah.
You know, but this is Venice, you know, selfies, I mean, almost unheard of. But I love that picture. Just love that picture.
Yeah.
So that's what we have to recreate. And I'm not saying, but look, you know, over 100 likes.
Yeah.
Most of his posts, you know, don't flatline, but they're pretty close.
Yeah.
So that's what we have to. I mean, this one was an amazing one when this is the day that he. This is really quite an old post, but it's a day that he created something really, really cool. So that's where we have to go with that.
Mm-hmm.
He's then got a business page, which for now we've called the Spirit of Gratitude because it's really the movement of who he is and what he does.
Okay.
So I deliberately picked this picture, you know, to coincide with the brand. Slightly different view from one to the other, but
yeah,
this and LinkedIn are his main platforms, and we've got to get deep and because like 95 likes is like not a lot. So we've got a lot of material. We've got a lot of great photographs. I think these were good starts.
Yeah.
But it all came to a halt again because I think what we should have done.
Yeah.
Before we even started, we should have had this call.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah.
So we started. I wanted to start. To start the month of October off. And he's nervous because we're his voice, right?
Yeah.
I get that. His LinkedIn. Is over here.
But again, I am not going to make any posts without his or Ellen's approval. That is clear.
If we do that, then our hands are tied in many ways. I typically won't agree to that all the time. Initially, I will, but we have to have enough trust that. I mean, I've written posts of people, I've written blogs, long posts of people, and I've had clients read it and went, "Dang, this is good. I don't remember writing this, but it's so good." I went, "You didn't write it, I did." I went, "But that's exactly what I would have written." I went, "I know." That's where we need to be with a few clients. I need to be able to look and type at the same time. Give me a second. George Jerjian. you can't even say George without a British accent. So we upped his LinkedIn. It looks good. It's his book. It's him speaking. It's his picture. A little bit about who he is. We did a couple of articles that we published for him. We've got all of his history here, which is fine. What we now have to do is we have to get into his activity.
Yeah.
And this is where he and I, so he likes this post. Great, you know? I mean, this is so quintessentially British, right? Maybe not, oh yeah, the City of London. When I saw JP Morgan, I wasn't sure. So he likes some stuff, but we now have to get George creating content.
Okay.
And so a week ago now, this is a way to go out with a bang and let it echo in eternity. So I presume George wrote that.
Okay. I didn't do it.
Okay. So whoever this T. Boone Pickens is, obviously somebody famous. And this is where George really comes in because he knows who these people are.
Okay.
Well, this is a post that you did, I'm sure.
And I thought the caption was just perfect to.
No,
it's
totally fine.
Yeah.
No, was this a quote from somebody? Yes, it was.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So what I would do here, when we do a quote like that, is put it in speech marks.
Okay.
So that people can see it's a quote. Otherwise, because the first 3 lines, they might think it's George himself, and it's not.
Okay. Yeah.
But putting it in a speech mark is good.
Yeah.
And this is activity, so this isn't post. So that's why we're seeing each person that wrote about it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So your future is taking shape, with or without you. What are you waiting for? So whoever this Kim Hamer is, George liked this. So this is kind of the vibe. I don't particularly like the way they did it. Could be better. But this is, so this is Susan speaking. It's kind of interesting that it says storm on the pipe. I never noticed that. But this is her at a lectern, 220 people in Calgary starting Lean In, which is Facebook Sheryl Sandberg's female empowerment thing. This is, I mean, Susan could be retired. Her husband's a doctor. She doesn't need to work. Her money is fun money. It's not work money. She's the ideal George Jerjian type of person, right?
Okay.
So they're the 2 platforms that we're going to play with, as well as his blog and his videos and his podcast.
All right.
And then out of those podcasts and videos will come his email newsletters and his opportunity to be on other people's shows, his videos. So he could be sitting with the fire blazing, and it's October 15th, and it's 8 o'clock at night, and he sets up his tripod with his phone, and you hear the fire cracking in the background. And he said, you know what? I just finished reading Gifted by my friend Kim Sykes and Paul Cotter. And here's the thing you don't know. This book was about a crow. And they asked me to be the voice of the crow. And I did a Facebook Live for an hour in the persona of a crow. I just love that. I wish when I was a kid, I'd have had the time to read to my kids in the voice of a crow. Maybe he did. I don't know. I'm just...
Yeah.
And, here at night, I've got a glass of scotch. I've got a great book in my hand. I've done good in life, but I am nowhere near done. And I want you to just think about where you are today at this very minute. Have you done good in life, but you're nowhere near done? Or have you not done enough good and you need to do more good? My friends, we need a retirement rebellion.
Okay.
We need to take retirement, stick it on its head, pull its pants down, slap its ass and say, no, we're going to do it differently.
Yeah.
I don't know if George would say that.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
But that's the media campaign that we need to create for him.
Okay.
Stop people, and every time they see a George post, they're almost gleeful. Like, what's he going to say now?
Yeah. I'm I'm curious why you picked me to do that.
Well, because I see the potential in you. I don't know if it's there yet, solo.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. But if you listen to me and we converse and you just take my essence and turn it into product, we can do this together really, really well.
Okay, good.
I I am hyper creative. You know that.
Yeah.
My attention span is pathetic. So I need people around me that can take what I think and turn it into what needs to be done.
Yeah.
I can do it ad hoc. I can do it now and again, and I can do it probably better than anybody,
Yeah.
but I can't do it consistently. It's just
Yeah.
not the way I'm wired.
Okay.
But, give me a coffee, give me a subject, and open up a camera, I'll create.
Okay.
But at the same time, for me to write every single day and to think about it every single day, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't care about George or Kim or Paul or anybody else. I care passionately. I am not wired to be, that's why I don't cook. I can't open a fridge door, look at ingredients, put a meal together and make it. I can once in a while. I cannot do it every day.
Okay.
Could I? Yes. Do I want to? No. Will I? No.
Okay. Yeah.
Not my strength. And I'm only working in my strength, in my zone of genius. And I need the Lindsays and the Erins and the Pages and the Arnhems and the Annas around me that can run with what I want and make it happen.
Okay. Good.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And people say to me, I've heard this phrase many times, it's like, I won't let you down. And it's like, no, you won't let me down. But if you do, you actually let yourself down.
Yeah.
And I give people enough rope to go way out into the lake and pull themselves back very, very safely. I do not ever let the rope go. And I rarely hold the rope really tight. You know what I mean? When a rope is on a boat, right? I'm not talking about hanging somebody.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
But at the same time, someone can undo the rope from the boat and go without me. Then I can help them. But providing there's a rope, and when I say rope, I mean like a communication channel.
Yeah.
Which is Facebook, phone, Slack. I mean, I'm trying to use Slack for everything to keep it up business. I don't want to be Facebook messaging people at 8, 9 o'clock at night, because that could be where my brain's at, or 7 in the morning or 6 in the morning. That's when my brain is creating. But if I can put that into Slack, then as and when somebody is ready to work, the work is ready for them. I mean, I know I text you because I don't think you read Slack as often as I want you to, which is why I text you. But we have a relationship that I'm texting for a good reason.
Yeah.
But that's a dynamic. And people either fall by the wayside or they rise up and they become amazing people.
Yeah.
And George is an amazing person. And I believe enough in him to agree to keep working with him, because I don't always say yes. I mean, we could have done this 6 or 7 times this year with other people. Didn't do it. Didn't want to do it. I have no desire to do it. George, I have a massive desire to do it. But A, he shouldn't have to afford to pay me like he was doing for the first 3 months to get going.
Yeah.
B, I don't want to do it. I don't want to be that intense all the time, because that means I can't help other people. And that's why I love the VIP titanium rollout, is that after 2 or 3 months, we're up, we're running, somebody should be able to own that and run with it as well as me. I'll still give input, but then I go and help the next person.
Yeah.
So I'm not super distracted, but I'm also, I need color and I need variety, and beige doesn't work for me.
Okay, gotcha.
So if my life is beige, I'm bored.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah.
So yeah.
Gotcha.
So I see your creativity. I know, I mean, I see your picture when you're in Whistler, and I see that glint in your eye, down by the river, in the forest, swimming like you do. I see that glint in your eye, and that's the Anna that I want to work for me.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay. So, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to stop recording.
Okay.
Because I might well